Hello everybody, in this video I'm talking about the HUD in the game Dragon Age The Veilguard. So basically I was watching a video on IGN showcasing different aspects of the game, and it's not the first time that I'm actually seeing it, but I wanted really to talk about, so I spent more time observing it, and then I saw what many others complain about, and this is basically the HUD itself, the colors used, especially people referring to the purple accent in the HUD, which felt totally off. Now the reason it felt off for me is because, again, mainly because of the purple. Especially by the way in darker shades like you see here, can leave a low contrast against darker backgrounds. Now I can understand why they went with purple, because again it's sometimes associated with danger, with death, with mourning. So again, also something, when it comes to dark fantasy games, these colors are being used. Also, there might be an aspect regarding accessibility. So for example, people with color blindness might find this combination of colors hard to distinguish between others, but I don't know exactly if there is colorblind mode in this game, but hopefully there will be. And actually read on Reddit, somebody mentioned, I'm colorblind, how much purple actually is there? But you can clearly see that there's kind of an aura in the inner part of the HUD, kind of pointing you, of course, to the area where you should focus at when you are, focusing on certain enemies, rather than putting all together all around the HUD. So it is limited, but still very, very visible. And one more note, you can actually see that purple is also kind of a leading color when it comes to Dragon Age The Veilguard. It's shown on the official website, and it's very prominent on the cover as well. Now, purple used in many things to symbolize power, magic, royalty, and in fantasy setting like Dragon Age, these themes are frequently associated with the game's magical and noble characters. So the use of purple also reinforces this connection. Now I'm going to show different variations in a moment, but just so you know that in this case in Veilguard, the area that was shown is actually kind of more dim. But for example, here you can see predecessor. The game is pretty much a kind of vibrant and lots of colors all over the place. And sometimes when you have something like that, it's pretty hard to distinguish between different colors and what they mean, or if you want to emphasize on something. Like if you, for example, have red, sometimes even red won't be that visible if you have so many colors on the screen. This is why some games prefer going with more muted colors, make it more natural, so other colors can pop up. This is especially true if the UI is not minimalistic, you have many UI elements. Again, in a moment I'm going to show you variations, but before that, let's also take a look. This is Dragon Age Inquisition, which I played a few months ago. You can see the UI, the way they usually distinguish between creating a contrast between the HUD and the game itself, usually with shadows, very well-defined borders. You can see it also in the mini-map, kind of a contouring. You can see at the bottom with the different abilities. So it actually pops up, and there's kind of a feel of a layering to the HUD compared to the gameplay itself. You need to understand that the HUD is crucial in this game, so it basically allows you to clearly see things that are important in the game. This is in Veilguard, for example. Alright, so you can see this is the different abilities, and you can see they went with kind of thick borders with the abilities, and kind of it's not supernatural, it's not like towards the gray, but more kind of a golden or reddish type of color, which also fit kind of the theme of the game. They also went with very bright and saturated colors, as you can see, for the health bars and everything else, so it really stands out from the rest. And this is important because the game itself in many areas is going to be very bright, colorful. They're not going to limit, of course, the colors of the game because of the UI. They need the UI to fit basically what the game looks like. Still, the game is going to be very flashy with lots of colors and stuff, and it's more for also cartoony, so it's going to be more even prominent. This is why they went with very bright colors. You can see it actually in the HP bar on the left, which is really bright saturated green. So this is just an example on Dragon Age Inquisition, how bright and colorful everything is. I really like it personally, but again, the UI still needs to stand out. All right, that in mind, let's go back to the Dragon Age Veilguard HUD. So you can see here again with the purple. Now let's try to make a few changes to see if it can look better. So first of all, I'll try with a grayish aura, just a bit, no contrast. But again, because the contrast is not high, it doesn't really help with what I want to achieve with a more harsher contrast. Especially in areas that are more grayish, it's kind of blend in, so it really doesn't help solve the issue. And even now, it felt that it's very prominent, even when you use the gray color because of the low contrast. I mean, compared to the higher contrast of the UL elements icons compared to the scene. Now, if you go something more extreme, let's go to white borders, and also the aura there just turning into white border. You can see that it's just too extreme. It's thick, it doesn't blend with the game at all. It more looks like a spaceship HUD in a flight simulator game. It also doesn't make the icons stand up, it kind of blends everything together and it just looks bad. The idea is that the icons can really stand up, you can also see the battlefield clearly because it blends in. So again, everything needs to be very well balanced, so everything actually has its place. Now generally speaking, blue again, it doesn't fit here, this lighter blue, but again, blue tends to have better contrast against dark backgrounds than purple, so make it easier to distinguish from other elements. And this is especially true in low light conditions, in areas that are darker. So this is why you can actually see a good distinguish between the environment and the HUD. However, from what I've read, accessibility wise, individuals with red-green color blindness might find blue and green more difficult to differentiate. Also note that when you do it both for the aura and emphasize it like a border, it becomes much thicker, which just is too much basically. You want the borders to be thinner, but still having an aura, some kind of something, I don't know, that will help differentiate between the game itself and the HUD. This is why, by the way, you see different UI elements using different brightness and saturation to bring out certain elements out. And I think that's the reason why you chose purple. Now, if you go with golden aura in the border, so you can see that the aura now is more emphasized here. It does look thicker. It's not too bad, but again, I personally prefer it thinner because it just blends in together and it doesn't look like, I don't know, like the HUD of a digital camera or flight simulator. It's just too thick. So it needs to be thinner, but still, if you look at it like that, you can see that this golden color actually really fits. So basically, when they chosen the border, this kind of golden brownish color, it's actually a good choice. You can see it on other elements in the UI as well. Now, if you take it and just mute a bit, make it a bit semi-transparent aura, I mean, again, the inner part, if you can see that it looks better. There's still some kind of a contrast there, but it's thinner and overall blends in nicely. So I personally really like that. Now, the main problem with this is you have less contrast. So it more blends in with basically the background and you want slightly better differentiation. And if you look at the purple, you can clearly see that the icons, everything just stands out because the purple just make it pop. All the other elements pop compared to the left side, which is kind of more blended in, which is again, not that good. Next thing, I added shadows, but the shadow actually, because I didn't do it perfectly, because again, you can see that the shadow also lifted up the border, make it a bit thicker. So you need to balance it out better, in my opinion, to create a kind of a shadow more towards the outer area rather than beneath. So it won't actually thicken it out. So it's not really perfect the way I actually did it. But basically, if you create slight shadow in the outer area of the aura, it can create kind of a better separation between the UI elements. Also, by the way, you can do it on the left side as well, which actually is applied here. But it kind of lifts the UI upwards, create a more three-dimensional one that I don't think based on what I see the developer wanted to achieve. But that can be also addressed with just maybe a fine layer of a dark line in the outer area. This can be addressed. The other thing that I actually did here, you can see it's slightly boosted. What happened? Basically, I just boosted the colors, increased basically the brightness and slight saturation. I mean, just the brightness in this case, and basically makes the icon more, pop up more compared to how they were before. Let's take a look. All right, so this is before. You can see the icon, especially with the blue one on the left, you can see it's more muted. And now after the change, before the change, and after the change. All right, before the change, after the change. No, I took a look at other images, at trailers and gameplay trailers, and I can actually see that the purple plays a significant role in many of the UI elements. You can see it here on the notification on the right side, and I think you can see at the bottom right as well. You can see it also on the left side when you're leveling. It's kind of glowing. And there's also the enemies. You can see different attacks, have this purple color. Also the abilities in the UI at the bottom. So no doubt they are pretty consistent with that. But if you look at the general areas, they are not purple. Otherwise those effects wouldn't stand out as much. Alright, so this is why, by the way, the purple distinguish itself and create a nice contrast, because the world itself is not purple. So this is on the left side, you can see it without the aura removed. On the top and bottom, you can see it with the aura basically being more solid color. Right, it's kind of a thicker, and on the right side with the original purple. So no doubt that the purple will help distinguish the UI element. It's kind of a shadow, but something that doesn't make it look 3D, make it more blend in. So in that aspect, it's a good choice. And you can see that with shadows, it just kind of had a 3-dimensional one. Or you can soften it out so it will blend better, of course. It's just a matter of smoothing it out a bit more to create kind of more vignette type of effect near the UI. So if you ask me personally what I feel about it, I feel that purple is a color that is nice to see here and there, especially with visual effects, that this is not something I want to see stuck permanent in the HUD. It's nice to have it kind of a flashy effect, both for visual effects and some animated UI elements, but not when it's static. Even when I saw the different abilities, they used some kind of combination of pink and white. It didn't make it really lots of purple there. But you can see here, by the way, this is an Inquisition. On the left side, you can see the purple animated. Again, it has a kind of a function, all right, to really show you something, but it's not really permanent on the screen. Otherwise, it also really grabs your attention. Purple is very prominent when you see it compared to other colors. That's why many people use it also in YouTube banners to kind of make everything pops out compared to other colors and other banners. Now, of course, you can use something like green because it represents, again, health in this case of the game. So it really signifies something, positivity, something good, compared to red, for example, like you see on the ground in Inquisition, which means that, there's something, bad there, shouldn't step there. So you can really use every color because they are usually used for things regarding hints to what's actually happening, which are very important. So you can really use that. So personally, I like UI that is clear of purple and when it's only used for certain things. So by the way, you can see by the way UI that I talked about, it's more kind of a pink color rather than purple, so it's not really prominent there. But definitely you can see it on the enemy. So bottom line, I can understand the reason why they decided to use it. I personally don't like it. It's kind of annoying to me every single time I actually look at it. But I want to hear your opinion. I just share mine. Again, I'm not an expert or anything, just sharing my opinion based on what I've seen, and just try to tweak things a bit to see if I can find something that I like better. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the purple in the UI and the HUD and the HUD itself in general. In the comment section below, let's discuss it there. Thanks for watching.